UFC Kansas City, a couple of days away, guys. We're coming off an off week and much needed, especially for me. I'm working on so much for you guys. And if you're new here, I'm the MMA casual. I'm a handicapper. I'm a content creator. I have about 2,000 subscribers here on YouTube. But if you go to my Instagram, we're nearing 90,000 and I give you best bets, predictions, and I do all sorts of UFC content, to be frank with you. And if you like it here, subscribe, like, comment. Let me stop yapping. Let's get straight to it. In this video, I am going to try to break down these fights. There's a lot of fights this week, and I believe 14 total. Prelims, I'm going to move pretty quickly. I'm going to tell you where I believe there's value. I'm going to tell you what to look out for if there's any traps. My favorite picks. I won't give you my exact picks or betting slips because that's what my subscribers pay for on Instagram, $4.99 a month. You see on my slips. And if you don't trust that, guys, ROI for this year, 2025, we're coming up at the end of April, 43.85% ROI. Look up an investment you have. If you even invest money, tell me which one is giving you 43% ROI, almost 44, 4 months in. All right. And yes, we're gambling. This could go up, this could go down, but pretty freaking good if you ask me. Plus 36.04 units profited here. And our return plus 68.64 units, which of course the return includes your initial investment. So, same thing as our ROI. But anyway, let's get right to it, guys. UFC Kansas City, starting off with the most exciting fight on the card, guys. Chelsea Chandler, Jocelyn Edwards. Guys, as good of an MMA women's prelim fight to start a card. This is where you use the restroom. You get that last, 6-pack run. You go to the gas station real quick. You do some chores around the house while it's on. You hear Michael Bisping screaming in the background and John Anik speaking nonsense. That's about it. But Edwards coming in as a minus 325 favorite. Chandler a plus 250 underdog. Guys, I've never been big on Chandler. I run away from her in her fights. I don't think she's that good, even though she looks a little better right now. Looks very prepared for this fight. Someone who's going to constantly pressure, except for that rare moment where she was running away from her opponent. Edwards, I think she is a very good striker. I think she has taken herself to some very close decisions, but I think the skill set is there. Justin Edwards will have the output. I think she is the better striker. She is the smaller girl here, and I think that might be a little bit of an issue with the pressure coming in, but I think if Justin Edwards could have the output, she could kind of stop Chandler from pressuring so hard with a nice jab, bringing in some teeps and things like that. I think she'll be okay. So personally, I don't like the money line here. Minus 325 is a little too wide for Edwards, but I am pretty confident that she will win this fight. You have plus 2.5 rounds at minus 550, guys. I think that is a ridiculous line set. I think it's accurate, but I don't like betting anything over really 350 usually. I don't like her money line. I don't like the round line. If anything, guys, Jocelyn Edwards by decision, minus 190. And I think that's a pretty good one. Chelsea Chandler can get her to the ground, but I think Edwards has been working well in the takedown defense department. I think she'll be able to stop that. If she gets taken down, work her way back up fairly quickly. Next up, Timmy Kwamba. I don't know what I just said. Timmy Kwamba, Roberto Romero. Guys, off the bat, Timmy Kwamba, in my opinion, the better fighter. I think he's more complete, but Roberto Romero being exactly what he is, a Mexican dog. And it's very hard to put some of these Mexicans away. They have their fame in the fighting world, and it's for good reason. And Roberto Romero came off his last fight off short notice, proved that he's deserves to be here. Fought Onama, and he looked really good. So Romero minus 125, and I believe there was odd flipping here. I believe he started off as the underdog, so if you got him early, well done. Kwamba plus 100. I think, like I said, Kwamba's a more technical striker. I think he's just better all around. He is very calculated. Almost sometimes like you're just looking like we saw Mitch Raposo 2 weeks ago, where you're just like, do something, give me output, and he's just still calculating the fight. I think that is the wrong idea to come into this matchup against someone like Roberto Romero, who's going to be pushing the pace in his face and straight up a Mexican junkyard dog. So I am going Romero. I do like the money line, guys. I think it may be worth it. Minus 125 might hit him in a parlay, maybe a two-leg parlay with another money line. But right now, I do like Romero. I think that's something to think about. Didn't see much in this fight. I did like, other than the money line. I think you got to be very careful because this fight could go a few different ways. Jacqueline Amorim, Poliana Viana. Guys, Amorim now at minus 900. One of the biggest favorite on the card. I don't know what I was about to say there. Viana plus 600 underdog. I don't see why anybody would be on the Viana side here. She has takedown issues straight up. She's gonna get taken down. Amorum's gonna mount her, gonna be on top of her. She could submit anyone on this planet. I'm convinced she could submit Islam Makhachev. Exaggeration here for satire. Submission heavy. Amorim, if you want to get some value for her to win by sub, is minus 170. Fight to not go the distance is minus 300. And I don't know if I like that line. If for any of you think Viana could kind of handle the wave of submission threat of Amorim, I think you go that fight does go the distance. I did not write that down, actually, guys. I could look it up on the Hard Rock app, but I'm not going to. I really didn't like much here, guys. Minus 900 is bananas. I don't care. Never put that on a parlay. That's my opinion. I do like her by sub. Maybe I parlay her for my long shot. Minus 170. There is value, but I think that will move as the week continues. Malcolm Wellmaker, Cameron Saaiman. Guys, Cameron Saaiman, 2 straight losses. Wellmaker making his UFC debut. And if we've learned anything in 2025 is that UFC debuts are hard. They're rough, and they are not what we should be betting on. Straight up. I think I lost like 3 weeks in a row of off debuts. And guys, I was really high on, and I got screwed. And I made up this rule that I continue to break just because I see the potential in a lot of these guys. And I think 2025 is this weird stretch of underdogs. But I think we're leveling out. Malcolm Wellmaker coming into this fight, minus 120, Saaiman minus 105. This is a straight pick 'em now. I believe Wellmaker started off as the underdog as well. So if you were there early, well done. Like I said, he's making his debut. But if you saw this guy in the Dana White Contender Series, very fun to watch. Looks like he's ready for the big stage. A lot of power. I don't like that he keeps his hands down. I think he's becoming very confident in his striking ability. But now you're walking into the UFC. You need to be prepared for the real thing. And someone like Cameron Saaiman, although he's coming off 2 losses, very experienced. So I think here we have someone who's very skilled and experienced in Cameron Saaiman, and very experienced is a bit of a stretch, but experienced at least. I think he is highly skilled. I think he may be better all around as far as when you incorporate the grappling and just those little things, the clinch, things like that. But I have Malcolm Wellmaker in the striking for sure, the power for sure. But one thing's for sure, both of these guys could finish a fight, but one of them is more hittable. And I'm going to say that's Saaiman. We've seen him finish before. And because of that, I do like the money line for Wellmaker. I am going for Wellmaker on his debut. And for him to win by knockout is plus 350. Plus 350. Fight not to go the distance, plus 110. I dabbled around that area. I dabbled in this fight. And I'm almost mad at myself. And I'll confirm that on Saturday if it was worth it or not. But I dabbled in this fight because I think that this fight there's a finish here. I just have that gut. Haven't seen anybody really talk about that line, but plus 110 for fight not to go the distance here. 2 guys who have finishing ability, 2 guys with stuff to prove. Him on his debut, Saaiman needing something, at least any sort of win here. Yeah, I like it. Keep it moving. Damon Blackshear, Alateng. Could never say his name, bro. Don't get upset at me. Blackshear minus 525. Absolutely bizarre. Alateng is plus 375, guys. Guys, straight up pass. I'm passing on this fight for the most part. I haven't found anything I really, really like. Guys, Alateng is pretty good. Alateng Eli. Pretty good. Solid. He's solid, right? He could grapple, he could strike. I feel like we've had issues with him mixing things up. It's almost like depending on where his opponent takes the fight is where we end up. And Damon Blackshear, we know what he wants to do. He wants to take you down and he wants to submit you. It's that simple. He fought less than a month ago, had a very first round 1. We still got the fight to end by sub. I had that bet, but I did lose a little bit of confidence in him in that last fight. But Blackshear by finish plus 135. If you really like Blackshear, I think that's somewhere to go. I don't like the minus 525, guys. I think that's such a stretch. But Alateng is sometimes low volume and yes, solid grappling, but I don't think he wants to take that fight to the ground with Blackshear. So it's either a toss-up striking, or if it goes to the ground, I do think Blackshear finds a finish, but are we going to get there? So this is kind of a toss-up. I want to pass because I really do think Blackshear wins this fight, but minus 525 is a little crazy for me. Chris Gutierrez, John Castaneda. Guys, this fight's been set up a couple of times. Now we're going up to featherweight. It was supposed to be a bantamweight. A lot of different things I don't like about this. I have issues with Chris Gutierrez. Not so much with John Castaneda, but also not very proven. Here's my thing. Gutierrez is a minus 150 favorite right now. Castaneda plus 120. I'm almost inclined to say Castaneda or bust here. But I don't know, man. Chris Gutierrez has so much experience, and sometimes I have counted him out, and he is good. And I think Castaneda is gonna be moving forward. He's gonna be looking for the pressure, looking for takedowns. I don't think he's gonna want to strike too much with Chris Gutierrez, not because he's gonna get finished, just because I do think Gutierrez will have the output. Um, but how much can Castaneda pressure when Chris Gutierrez is just eating up your legs, man? And you're gonna hear a lot of people talk about that, depending on who you listen to and who you follow on Twitter. But man, not Twitter, on X. Chris Gutierrez is a very good striker, and I think his takedown defense is good enough where Castaneda won't have much success. I am gonna lean Chris Gutierrez, guys. I'm a little weary on this. I can see myself flipping. So I am somewhat of a pass on this fight. Gutierrez minus 150. There is some value there. Castaneda, if you like him, plus 120. I'm gonna look at the actual point lines. I want to see what we have. Maybe John Castaneda winning a round. I might go there, or a finish only bet or decision only bet. But I haven't decided, guys. For now, I'm gonna pass on this fight. Evan Elder versus Gage Young. Guys, Evan Elder was supposed to fight another guy who was coming off the Dana White Contender Series, who made me money, actually, when we were watching Dana White Contender Series, if you followed that long. But apparently he's a pedophile. So, yeah, he's not fighting. I hope his genitalia gets cut off. I hope he's, I don't know how bad things happen to the gentleman. And hopefully, I can't say much more because YouTube probably won't push out my video. But yeah, screw that guy. So here we are, Evan Elder, someone who I'm pretty high on. I think this guy's pretty good all around. He's coming in as a minus 225 favorite. I think that's kind of thin. I think this should be spread a little more. Young at plus 190. Yes, Young is a decent fighter as well, but another UFC debut. And Gage Young coming off short notice. So I don't know, man. Gage Young in his last fight had issues with his takedown defense. I think Evan Elder, if he's not having enough success striking, I think he can bring this down to the ground. I think he needs to piece up Young. Be weary of potential Young power, but just kind of stay on the outside, pick him apart. Last minute of the round, take him down, secure the round. I see Evan Elder in decision. I like that one. Maybe that money line. Maybe I'll do Elder and Wellmaker, something risky like that. I'll probably get plus money on that. So we'll see. But I do have Evan Elder here. Next up, guys, Matt Schnell minus 200, Flick plus 165, guys. Holy hell. Holy train wreck. What is this matchmaking? Guys, I believe this is Matt Schnell's retirement fight. Jimmy Flick, probably the same thing. I think win or lose, they're like done. Don't really see the need for this fight. In my opinion, I do not trust Match now at minus 200. If that line closes a little, maybe I'll hop on there. Under 2.5, sorry, over 1.5 is minus 120, which I kind of like, man. A lot of people see this fight not going the distance, which I understand, but over 1.5, I kind of like it at minus 120. Something to think about. Under is minus 105. Flick, I think he's sub or bust. I think this guy could easily submit Matt Schnell. Matt Schnell doesn't have great takedown defense, barely has a chin. I kind of lean underdog here just because I don't like Matt Schnell. I don't think Matt Schnell is that impressive. And now he's on his way out. Is he coming in motivated? No, he's like final paycheck, final ride. I kind of like Flick here, and I think I might go my first underdog of the night, Flick plus 165. I don't know if I'll do money line, but Flick by finish is plus 230. Maybe I do a finish only bet on him, and then Flick by sub 260. And I think there's hell of a value there. Hell of value there. So think about it. Take a second. Ikram Aliskerov minus 650. Another huge favorite here, guys. So I don't touch minus 650. Andre Muniz, plus 450. Aliskerov by knockout minus 190. I think that's where we have to hold the money. If you like the money line here, I think you just need to commit to the knockout. I'm hoping Ikram Aliskerov just kind of breaks Muniz. I think Muniz, we've seen he's not that durable. I feel like later on in the fight, things get rough and he's just going to kind of give up. I don't think he has the cardio. So round one for Aliskerov plus 150. Fight to end in round one. I think there's value there potentially round one. But if not, I really do like Aliskerov by knockout. Maybe parlay that minus 190. There's value there. But guys, stay away from the money line. I don't like minus 650 for anyone. We've seen a lot of underdogs come out of nowhere. We've seen people just not show up this year. Like I always say, over 400. I can't do it. All right, Randy Brown, Nicholas Dalby. Guys, Randy Brown's good. He had a hell of a little war with Brian Battle. I'm high on Brian Battle. Very close fight, man. Really, when that went to decision, I thought I got screwed because I had Brian Battle winning that fight. But Brown's good. Brown could keep his distance. Brown's a good striker. And I think here he's gonna be able to keep his distance. I'm scared of Nicholas Dalby. He is getting older, but this guy pushes the pace. This guy is another junkyard dog. We put him and Romero next to each other, and you have a problem. You know what I mean? These guys are gonna not stop coming at you. I don't see Randy Brown getting a finish here. I think obviously this is going to decision unless Nicholas Dalby catches some crazy shit on Brown's chin. What I have here is a potential pass. Brown is a minus 250 favorite. Dalby's a plus 195. Fight to go the distance, minus 220. I do like that. I really do think that'll happen. And then Brown by decision, if you want plus money, plus 100. I think that's where the money lies, guys. I am picking Brown, but I really do think this goes to decision. I don't see him finishing Dalby or vice versa. All right, we're getting to the nitty gritty, guys. All right, next up, Michel Pereira, Abus Magomedov. Guys, I've never been huge on Abus Magomedov. I've never been huge on Michel Pereira. I'll be honest with you. I've actually faded Michel Pereira a lot. And the first time I hopped on his bandwagon was actually against Fluffy Hernandez, and I fucked up because I've always liked Fluffy Hernandez, but I was like, man, Michel Pereira is so explosive. You know, he's proved me wrong before. He might come out and starch him. Boy, was I wrong. And if you're going based off his last fight, Michel Pereira looked like shit. I don't care what anybody says. He looked like shit. He got outclassed. He got dominated. He got embarrassed. I heard some dude saying that's not true. Yes, it is true. That's exactly what happened, actually. So that's something to think about. Abus Magomedov, we've seen him break apart. That's my problem with this guy. Just no heart out there, no cardio whatsoever. And yeah, he looked decent in his last fight, but we saw him slow down again. So I'm thinking Michel Pereira comes out here. I think he does have the cardio, not the best, right? We saw that 5-round fight, but for 15 minutes to be exciting, explosive, and overwhelm Abus, I think it could happen. I think Abus is getting better on a more technical level, but I think Michel Pereira is just going to out pressure him, out dog him, and overstimulate him, right? Because Michel Pereira, you're so worried about what he's going to throw next. Oh, is he doing a backflip? Oh, did he leave the cage? Is he behind me? Where the hell is Michel Pereira? Nobody knows. That's why I think he's going to surprise Abus Magomedov, be unorthodox, and I think he's going to push the pace and get his ass. So minus 145 for Pereira, Abus Magomedov plus 115. I do understand the line. Finish only win for Pereira is a minus 210. I like that. I really don't see Abus finishing him. Again, you never know, but I don't see Pereira, slowing down in this fight. Pereira by finish plus 170. I like that with his pressure. And yeah, I just think, like I said, I can't trust Abus, his heart. Yes, he's a Magomedov, but I just don't trust him. He trains in a different land or something because he's not like those Dagestanis, the real ones at least. So yeah, I'm going Pereira. Guys, next up, Giga Chikadze, David Onama. This is a tough one, and I think a lot of this has to do with what styles we're gonna see in there. I've been high on Giga Chikadze before. That guy, there's not many people who kick like Giga Chikadze. Not many, if any. Very unorthodox kicks, very exciting. He's coming in here. He is the plus 130 dog. Onama, the minus 165 favorite. David Onama should not strike with Giga Chikadze. That is, I was about to say my recommendation as freaking the MMA casual coaching. That's, a little absurd for me to come here and say what he needs to do. But the reality is, I don't feel comfortable with David Onama spending 15 minutes in a point fight with Giga Chikadze. I think that's a bad idea, and that's a way for Giga Chikadze to get back on the win column. David Onama, though, if he incorporates the grappling, I think he smokes Giga Chikadze because we've seen Giga Chikadze have issues with his takedown defense before. I think Onama could step in there, get him to the ground, and just work. He could hold him there or he could submit him. And I think it's very possible. But if he stands up and he tries to fight against Giga Chikadze as far as striking goes, I think this becomes a really close fight and it becomes real dangerous. So I'm hoping David Onama is prepared for this style of fight, is not trying to go out there and find some sort of knockout or look impressive on the feet. He needs to just win a fight. And if David Onama comes into grapple, I think he does so. So I am on the Onama side. I kind of like the money line, minus 165. I think that's fair value. I don't know what the heck's going on with me today. Onama by finish plus 275. I think that's something you might want to dabble. Not a bad idea. It's possible. I think he could find a sub, but we'll see. That's my take. Oof. Anthony Smith, Zhang Mingyang. Guys, Anthony Smith, so experienced, very skilled. Whatever anybody says, he's very skilled. The problem is the guy has 50 fights, 50 professional fights. Man, that's a life. That's a life of fighting. And we've just seen him break down, man. There's a point in this career. We've seen it with so many guys that you could be as skilled, you could have all the experience, but there's just a breaking point. And yes, he was dealing with personal stuff in his last fight, went in there, looked like he wanted somebody to knock him out. We saw him get knocked out by Khalil Roundtree. We saw him beat Petrino with that little guillotine. So you never know what you're gonna get with Anthony Smith. But I think we're at a point where we're just coming down. And my issue with this fight is Zhang is coming in as a minus 525 favorite, which I think is quite the stretch. And I understand it because this guy's just starching everybody. Everybody. Round one, boom. Round one, boom. Very powerful guy. But the skill set lies with Anthony Smith. The experience lies with Anthony Smith. So which Anthony Smith are we getting? And you know what, guys? I am not going Anthony Smith at plus 400, even though if you just think Zhang can't handle the experience and skill set of Anthony Smith, that's a beautiful money line. I have to dabble at the round one KO for Zhang. That's plus 115. And I think I am. I think in 5 minutes, there's going to be some shots that land for Zhang. Zhang knockout is minus 220 if you want to play a little safer. And I think that's a fair bet. And then under 1.5 is minus 185. And I think all of those are fair. I just can't see Anthony Smith winning this fight. He is very hittable. I think he might get into a dogfight. I don't know how motivated this guy is. And then again, I just think we're at the tail end of his career. And at this point, they just start crumbling. All of them. They just start crumbling. I think we have somewhat of another Tony Ferguson thing going on. Thank God he has decided to retire, but this could be ugly. This could be ugly in there. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's a little more of a battle, but I think I will sprinkle something on Zhang by round one knockout. I think there's a fair price on it, and it's happened so many times. There's no reason I shouldn't shy away from it when he's fighting someone like Anthony Smith, who's at the end of his career. Next up, Ian Machado, Garry, Carlos Prates. So Garry minus 125, favorite right now. Prates plus 100. Guys, I'm gonna be so honest with this. This is one of the hardest fights to pick for me because I'm on the fighting nerds like you wouldn't believe. I am such a fan. I like them all. Jean Silva, Ruffy, Prates, Baralo. I like them all. And Prates and Silva are my favorite by far. By far. Their fight styles, their gimmicks, both of them. I like them all, but those are my two favorites. And like you've guys seen, I'm huge on John Silva. You're not gonna see me not bet John Silva for a long time. But this is what I'm gonna say. Ian Garry is very good. Ian Garry is very skilled. And for my reputation, I really try not to bet with my heart and the people I like. I try to be unbiased. And I'm going Ian Garry here. I am going Ian Garry. I think Ian Garry is a better fighter than Prates. Skill for skill, you watch them fight, and I think Ian Garry has more tools. Now he could grapple, he could keep his distance. He doesn't have this crazy finishing ability, which might be the issue here. But I really do think if he works around his jab, throws those teeps, works around the octagon, Prates could play that hunting game because he looks huge in there. Prates looks big in there, and he kind of hands down, kind of hunting you, looking for the big shot. I don't think that works at this level. I don't think that works against Ian Garry. And yes, people have touched up Ian Garry. There's better strikers than Ian Garry. But Ian Garry has proven he's making adjustments, and he can, in a 5-round fight, bring the IQ. He did it against MVP, and he knew he had to grapple to win a round, and he did. And I think he could do that with Prates. I think he could grapple when necessary, clinch when necessary. And once we get out of round two, how powerful is Carlos Prates? Is he going to be able to get Garry moving backwards, corner him, and land a huge shot? And don't get me wrong, he just freaking finished Neil Magny with a gust of wind from one of his hooks. Impressive. But I don't like the fact that for Carlos Prates to win this fight, we need that bullseye finish. He's not going to outvolume Garry. I don't think he's going to outstrike him. I don't think there will be more output. I think we're waiting for one shot from Carlos Prates. And that makes me a little uncomfortable in betting. Now, this is what I've seen. Over 2.5, minus 210. I do think there's some distance in this fight. Even if Prates gets a knockdown, I think it's after there's. I'm sorry. I think he has a good 2 rounds to get a solid knockdown, knockout clip against Ian Garry. After that, I think Ian Gary's going to have the flow. I think he's going to have the cardio. I think Prates maybe starts getting a little more tired because he's never fought anybody like Ian Garry. And I think Ian Garry, like I said, if he establishes a jab, he's kind of fighting his pressure with his own moving backwards, landing some solid punches. It's going to affect Prates, right? We've never seen anything like that. So if he's able to slow down Prates, hit him with the speed bump, I really do like that over 2.5 at minus 210. Fair value. Garry by decision, which is ultimately what I think is going to happen. Gary's a decision fighter, and then we need to see if Prates could last for 25 minutes. Garry by decision plus 250. I think I really like that. I really like that. Prates knockout plus 170. Like I said, if you're on the Prates side, you think he's just that good? You think he could find the chin? Go Prates. I'm not stopping you. I understand it. I think this fight, I think the line is perfect, plus 100. If you like the money line, but I don't see Prates winning a decision. So I think you go Prates. I think you go knockout. I don't think you get plus 100. I think you go plus 170 because I don't see him beating Ian Garry in decision. Garry to win and it to go over 2.5 rounds together. That's one bet on the Hard Rock app plus 120. I do like that because again, if Garry wins, I don't see it happening in the first 3 rounds. I could see maybe a late finish, maybe. I don't expect it. Or maybe a sub. Garry was really trying to work subs, got caught in some weird scenarios as well. So Garry by finish, I think comes late in the fight if it happens, but Garry and over 2.5 plus 120, I think there's value there. To be honest, I won't tell you exactly what I bet on this fight, but I will say I am going Ian Garry, guys. Let me know what you think below. Leave a comment, good or bad. Subscribe. Go check out my Instagram, guys. And if you want on my exclusive bets, subscribe on my Instagram. A lot of stuff coming out, guys. A lot in the works. I've been busy working on it, but I'm happy to bring it for you guys. Let me know what you think. Be sure to follow. Have a good one. See you after the fights.